Syracuse football coach. Take this opportunity now to introduce our Director of Athletics, Dr. Daryl Gross.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is such a special day for us here as we welcome back one of our own to Syracuse University as a head football coach. I want to start by thanking an advisory group that's been with me that has done such a wonderful job during this process. We did a very thorough search. We spent a lot of time, and it was very important for us to do that so that we could make sure that we could ensure that Syracuse football was going to be in good hands. Our chancellor, Nancy Canner, got an opportunity to spend some time with our head coach, and she was thrilled about him. She's flying to California, and she's not going to be here. But I do want to take this time to thank some people, some of whom are on my right, that were part of the group. Our chair of the Board of Trustees, John Chappell, who's out in Seattle, Trustee Howie Fanstill, Trustee Bob Myron, who's sitting right here, player Tim Green, who's just been such a wonderful friend, and appreciate you, Tim. Art Monk, who's a trustee of the university, who's not here. Floyd Little, who a lot of you know, and it's just been fabulous as well. And none other than the great Coach Mack, who you guys all know, who's in the front row right here. These gentlemen were superb. Their input was unbelievable, and it's good to know that we as people at Syracuse can work together to come up with such a wonderful head coach. As I mentioned, the search was very thorough. There were some tremendous candidates out there. The pool of people were outstanding, and we feel at the end of the day we got the best guy for Syracuse University. We have a guy who brings hope to this university, brings hope to our football program, brings hope to our student athletes, some of which I saw today after he saw them, who were so fired up. You got a group of kids that are just so hungry to win and do the right thing, and they came out of there hitting the ground running themselves, so it was exciting to see that. You know, you think about Doug Marone, you think about someone who's a Syracuse alum, you think about someone who grew up here, who sweat here, who bled here, who played for Coach McPherson here, and that has a lot of cachet with us. You think about guys like Jim Boeheim, who's been here, played here as well, John Desco, Gary Gate. That's the kind of staff we have, and all those men have done wonderful jobs. We have national champions amongst those people, and I know that Doug Marone's going to be setting the bar high to represent this university in a way that which nobody else could in that pool of candidates. You have a guy that's from the Bronx in New York. He's got Northeast connections. He's somebody that has stayed tied to the high schools for years, even during his pro years. He's always clinicked them. He's always stayed in touch with them. And even talking to those folks, they gave me a huge endorsement because they know that they want to send their kids to play for Doug Marone. He brings incredible expertise from the NFL. As the New Orleans Saints is the most prolific offense that you'll see. You'll see an exciting offense from him. I guarantee you that. I'll tell you that right now. And he was also an amazing college coach at Georgia, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, to name some. He was always considered the key recruiter for those staffs. Everyone looks at him as being one of the brilliant minds in the NFL and in college. He is on the short list for many NFL teams, or was on the short list, and we are so fortunate to have taken him away from that. And I've heard that from a lot of general managers. I can't find anything bad about this guy. I've talked to so many people that says, you have the right guy. And whatever's not obvious to you, it was very obvious to me and this group right here that Doug Marone is going to be a terrific coach here at Syracuse. The last thing I want to say about him is Doug Marone is a lifer. He bleeds orange. He will be here to be the steward of this program. We'll all be here to support him. You guys should all be proud of him. And right now, what I want to do is bring up the new head football coach at Syracuse University, Doug Marone.
I'll tell you, first of all, I'd like to thank, Chancellor Cantor, the Board of Trustees, Daryl Gross, Syracuse alumni, the fans, former teammates, all the coaches I played for and worked for, then obviously my wife and kids. I hope I don't break down today because, not a lot of times in your life can you actually accomplish a dream. And when I first made the decision to get into coaching, I first tried to come back to my university and become a graduate assistant, and people thought that I needed to go out and actually start coaching, practically coaching. So I went 30 miles down the road to Cortland State and started my career there. And all during that time, the minute I made that decision to start coaching, all I thought about was, I hope that one day I can stand in front of my school and my friends and be the head football coach at Syracuse University. And today I stand here and do that. And I want to thank everyone again, and I appreciate, having a kid from the Bronx who had a dream to making it come true. This is a great university. Today should be a great day for all of us. The passion in this program, when I look at words like orange pride, go through me. It starts now and it starts today. We need everyone. I told the players today, some of the players stayed, and I appreciate that. I told them that we need everyone. We need everyone to believe it. We need the alumni, we need the fans, we need the people, we need everyone. And the one thing that I feel that I can relate to is I love the people here. I've worked at Eagle Comtronics in the factory. I've worked at Pepsi Cola. I know what we need to win. I've been setting this plan up for a long time. When I made a decision to go into the NFL, I knew that somewhere along the line someone would say, he hasn't been out recruiting. He doesn't have the recruiting ties. Well, I kept those recruiting ties. I was fortunate enough to take a job with the New York Jets. So I was able to do clinics for high school coaches in our facility, and I was also able to get things done with refurbishing equipment, helmets, shoes, things that don't go overlooked, the things that these people remember. I'm here to help the coaches in New York State and also in New Jersey and all those areas that we need to go back and we need to regain our recruiting edge on. I want to bring back Syracuse players. Okay, to talk to our football team, people have had success. I want to make sure the staff, if it's possible, has people that have Syracuse ties. If they do not, I want to make sure that they have Northeastern ties for recruiting to lay the groundwork. Today is the greatest day of my life. Besides being married to my wife or my children, because if I don't say that, they're going to leave me. I caught myself saying that. I'm glad that everyone here can be a part of it. You're going to be proud, and we're going to win football games. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn this over.
Right now, what I'd like to do is bring up some members of our advisory group to say a few words about Doug Marone. I'd like to start with Coach Mack.
I was just sitting in the chair so I could hear what was going on. It's awful tough to congratulate, and we're very, very happy to have you here. I'm going to try to read some notes here that I have, if you don't mind. Floyd Little. If anybody epitomizes Syracuse football, it's Floyd Little. It also epitomizes Ben Schwartzwalder. They're not Monk. And the trials and tribulations they had try to protect the football team as a tradition there. And then I think here's some notes. I'm not very good at it. But I want you to know that I'm very, very proud of Bob Marone. I've known him for a long time, but we've had a great time being together, and what a great job he did for us, and how much he loves the university. That means a lot to me. And Tim Green probably is the most beautiful recruit we've ever had in our life. He did everything that any student and more. I tell Timmy for an awful long time, if anybody wanted to solve the wishbone, all they do is come and watch Timmy when you had a real problem as a defensive lineman deciding whether to take the fullback or the quarterback. Because if you take the fullback, then the quarterback runs. If you don't take the fullback, then he's going to run also. So Timmy solved that problem. He took them both. And I think that when you're talking about this group that got together, when you're talking about the chairman of the Board of Trustees, and Howie and another transfer, and then you're talking about Timmy Green, I don't know if we can get any better than that. So we have a lot of faith in you, Doug, and we want it to go. Now I'm going to read the rest of it. And I hope that you bear with me, because here is an alum, therefore knows the atmosphere and the recruiting area of Syracuse University. He knows the talent level needed to succeed here. And he has a good relationship with the high school coaches to successfully recruit the players he needs to win. And I really think that really describes him. And I really think he's going to fulfill what I have down here. This is a school that needs a good recruiter. Syracuse University is not a selector, it's a recruiting place. Selectors are at Notre Dame and Michigan and people like that. And Ohio State, where our own Jim Tressel is. But I'm telling you right now, he will make this a selector school. Once again, we want people dreaming of coming to Syracuse University and saying, what the hell's wrong with Syracuse University? It's over starting today because he's here. I can't find my notes, but hang in with me. I think you'll find that you love Doug. I do. And I think you'll find that he's going to be an excellent recruiter. And it's absolutely essential ingredient for success here. You've got to be able to recruit great athletes. Doug will surround himself with some good coaches and will be on the path to winning very soon. He has a killer schedule. Thanks. Thanks. I'll say this, but 8 of them are at home. Now the message goes out to everybody that's truly an SU fan. Buy the tickets and send to every 8 games and stay till the damn end of it. I always talk about Steve Rogers, who is the editor of the Post-Standard and a tremendous, tremendous guy. Not young Steve, old Steve. He loved football because he played football. He loved Syracuse University football. And what happened was a banquet after a season, after our great season, when we played West Virginia and those kind of people, I brought a jersey to give to Steve Rogers because he was so upset with what was happening in the SU game. They scored 1 minute, 28 seconds to go. He got up and left. So I gave him a 55-minute jersey, not 60, because he was not a 60-minute man. To be honest to God, truth, he loved it. And here, my last good news, the last thing. I hope every seat is filled with people cheering the orange on. We had enough of this damn moaning and groaning. It's time for cheering, and buy your tickets, and let's go orange, and goddamn you guys, you get ready to go. God love you.
Coach Mack mentioned the next speaker. It's Board of Trustee member, someone who's been passionate about Syracuse for a very long time, Bob Marone. Bob.
Mac's a tough act to follow, always has been. I've had a great time working with this group, and we've put in a lot of hours, but between John, Howie, myself, and then the We sure needed the football minds to tell us and lead us, and Floyd and Art and Tim and Max. So I guess I just wanted to say that I am very, very excited about Doug Marone as the next SU football head football coach. We met, we interviewed a bunch of candidates, and we were, right from the start, we were impressed by Doug. First, he's one of us, as has been said before, he's orange through and through, and he can make a great triumvirate with Jim Boeheim, Dusko, and Marone. They're all SU guys, and by the way, each one of them has had now their first head coaching job at their alma mater. Second, he's a New York guy with, as everybody said, with excellent relations with Eastern high school coaches. He'll be able to recruit in the Northeast, and it's something we desperately need. Third, the football guys on our commitment were all impressed. They felt strongly about Doug. We all did, and I'm sure they will speak for themselves as well. Doug is a high-energy, knowledgeable football guy with a great feeling for the orange, and we know he's the right person for our program and for our community. I'm very, very pleased with the choice, and Doug, we're all with you. Good luck.
Thank you. And to hear from one of our former players, Tim Green.
I had no idea I was going to be asked to get up and talk. Daryl, thanks for the warning. But I'm not going to find fault with Daryl Gross. I want to thank Daryl Gross because I've been privileged, first of all, to be a part of this group. The Board of Trustees, led by Bob Myron, the football part of the selection, the advisory group to Daryl, led by Coach Mack, and then with Floyd Little and Art Monk. And I was just thrilled to be a part of that kind of group, right? I mean, you'd love to be a part of that group anywhere, anytime. And Daryl Gross went through an exhaustive search. He has spent the last 3 weeks, and I bet you he hasn't seen his wife for more than 5 minutes, because he has been going, he has been talking, he has been on the phone. It's been, I got tired just being around him. He didn't leave a stone unturned in his search to find the best and the right person for Syracuse University football program. When we first got on the phone together and had our first conference call, Doug's name was one of many. And Coach Mack said some wonderful things about Doug, and he should. He brought him here from the Bronx. He was one of our star recruits when we were first able to start turning the program around. And no one, I don't think, is prouder than Coach Mack of Doug. And then Mack said, Tim, what do you think of Doug Marone? Tell the guys what you think. And this is what I said. I said, I feel a little put on the spot because Doug was one of my best friends. It was Doug and me and Todd Norley and Scott Conjal, and we were together like this throughout college. And for me to sit here and say that Doug Marone is the right guy is what I would love to say, but I can't say that because I don't know at this point if Doug is the right guy for Syracuse football, because this is a daunting task that he's going to have, or whoever it is going to face. It's difficult. I've said it's one of the most difficult things in the world of sports to take a college football program that's down and resurrect it. Coach Mack did it, and that's why I think what he said carried a tremendous amount of weight with Floyd, Art, and myself, as well as the Board of Trustees. For Doug, at that point, it was about being one of many. And for me, I wanted the group to know that I was going to be as objective as anyone was. And Floyd Little spoke to me a few nights ago, and he said, Tim, I didn't think you were in favor of Doug. He said, I loved him, and I didn't think you were in favor. I said, Floyd, how the heck could you say that? He said, well, you said you didn't know if he was the right guy. I said, Floyd, I wanted everyone to know that if he wasn't the right guy, I wasn't going to put my weight, my vote behind him, my passion behind him. So we started interviewing people, and I had the privilege to be with Daryl and see how thorough he was and the probing questions and the amount of time that he spent with all the different candidates. And then we went down to New York City last weekend, and we were able to have some final interviews with some incredible head coaches, any one of which deserves a tremendous amount of respect. When Doug Marone walked into that room and sat with that group, I will tell you bar none, he was the most impressive man that we had seen. The thoroughness of his preparation for this job was extraordinary. Naming the names of high school coaches that he was going to contact immediately, the recruiting service that he was going to use to get a head start to try to catch up with where we're at with recruiting, the staff that he planned on selecting, the details of the recruiting, the details of the X's and O's. He knew Art Monk's favorite pass patterns, and he's going to put one of those in and call it the Art Monk play. He knew so much about the X's and O's, and he knew about the opposing coaches in the Big East and their defensive propensities. And he's already got plans on how to attack those defenses, right down to where he's going to, which cornerbacks he's going to attack and how he's going to do it, and the weaknesses in their system. And to sit there and hear that and that thoroughness from a guy who is one of the top coordinators, one of the top minds in the National Football League, where you are tested. In that league, week in and week out, your intellect of the game is tested. Because every guy you face is a genius, they're brilliant, and Doug Marone rose to the top. And there are general managers in the National Football League who are sad today because they thought Doug Marone was going to be their next coach when they needed to make a move or make a change. So we're sitting there and we're hearing all these great things with the X's and O's, and we ask, what are you going to do? What kind of a system? What kind of an offense? It's going to be a multiple offense. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? He said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I want to assess my players, see what I've got, because I know there's some talent there, see what we can bring in, and then I'll design my system around my players. And throughout the process, every coach we talked to said recruiting was the number one thing. And Doug has been planning on this job and the recruiting that he's done. And I'll tell you what, he sold us. He was an incredibly impressive guy. I don't know if how long it's going to take to turn Syracuse football around, because it's that catch-22. How do you win? You recruit. How do you recruit? You win. Right? So how the heck do you do it? You have to have incredible passion, force of personality, intellect, and devotion to the institution. Doug Marone has all of those things, and I was very proud, and am today, to say at the end of that process that without a doubt, he was clearly the best guy to bring pride back to Syracuse football. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Sue, but I got to tell him this story, okay? Hope you don't mind. But see, Daryl, don't ever try to follow him around, because I don't know where the hell he's going to be. But I think this is a kind of thing that makes for winning. And I think you guys will appreciate this. Because, see, what you have to know about Doug Marone is this. He is coaching football in the National Football League right now. Now, they had a game last Sunday, whatever that Sunday was. And Daryl wants to meet with these guys on Sunday or Monday. So all of a sudden we have to try to find a way to get him there. So what I think what you people should know before he gets up here, he coached a game last Sunday. Then I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But he ends up on Thursday in Chicago coaching another game. So we had to find a way to get him down here. We didn't know any other way. I tried to find Scott Conjure, one of his teammates. I think I found him in Montana. I don't know where the hell he was. But here's what Scott did. Scott jumped in his plane. He flew to New Orleans, watched the game with Doug, jumped on a plane with Doug. They came to New York in his plane. He interviewed, brought him back because, see, he had to be to work right away because they were playing on Thursday night. Now, I don't know how many people go through that, but that's what Scott did, and Timmy mentioned he was one of the buddies, and he was there, and that's the kind of things that happen to winners. They find a way to get the job done, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. I want to make damn sure that everybody knew that, because I'm excited about it, and I want you guys to know that you're the guys that are going to keep us excited. So you pass the message on to everybody. And I want you to know something, Doug. If you can't win with guys like this, you're in trouble. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll now open the floor to questions for Coach Marone and Dr. Gross.
Question for Dr. Gross. All right, Mark. Can you take us through a little bit and tell us how the process came down to Doug? If the job was offered to anyone else, if there was any, other people that you offered the job to, or was this the first and only time?
We offered it to Coach Mack. He turned it down.
That's true.
But I tell you, Tim hit on it. I mean, we had a real thorough process. There's some wonderful candidates out there, and we were proud of all of them. The pool of candidates we had was top notch. Our intent was to only offer the job to one person, and I was able to do that this morning. And I'm proud to say that I offered the job to Doug Marone. But we're very impressed with a lot of people. There's a lot of great coaches out there, and they were outstanding.
Can you talk about the difficulty in putting a staff together? How are you going to go about that process?
Well, the difficulties about putting it together, it's really not as difficult as it may seem. When you're a candidate or a potential candidate for a coaching position, the amount of emails and things that you receive from people, potential coaches, is pretty unique. I think when you're preparing for yourself, a lot of times what goes through is, in our profession, and coaching is a very small profession, and there are probably not a lot of people that know how it actually works, but you command a lot of respect from each other, and we all know who the good coaches are, and we know who the poorer coaches are in our profession. A lot of times when we go through it, we see someone that we have a lot of respect for through hard work, through recruiting, through the X's and O's, through whatever it may be. And a lot of times you always get together with that person and you want to be around them quite a bit, and you always say, hey, you know what, if you ever get a job, make sure you call me. Or if you ever get a job, I want to be with you. And I'm very fortunate right now to have a lot of people that I've been around that feel that way about me. And again, I'm not a big, in our profession they call them phone guys. Guys are on the phone and are always looking for the next job. I've never been about that. I've always been about doing the best job I possibly can at the place that I was coaching at the time. And when you do that, you wind up coming up the ladder and gaining the respect of a lot of people. And they've called quite a bit. I think at the end of the day, just like Daryl said and the committee, they had a lot of fine candidates for this job. We have a lot of people that want to come to Syracuse and coach here and be assistant coaches, a lot. This is an exciting time. I'm going to say it again. And I'm so fortunate to have this opportunity to go and get the best people in that are going to fit Syracuse University the way I feel I fit in this institution. So, again, I'm happy with the process, and just so everyone knows where I stand, as a player, a former player, I was very happy with the process. In other words, it was very, I looked at it and I wanted to be that way. I think anyone that played, it was very thorough, the way they went about it. It was great questions on the interview. You really had to be prepared to answer all the questions. And, when you go through a process, usually what happens is the best person usually winds up with the job, and I feel that I'm that person. So I appreciate, Daryl, the process that you went through. I appreciate the patience in it, the patience of everyone in it, the thoroughness, and I believe that because of that process, that's why I'm standing here today. Thank you.
How quickly do you want to have coordinators in place, and have you decided if you're going to be your own offensive coordinator yet?
The coordinators in place are going to be together quickly. The problem that we have going is a couple of things. One is everyone has to understand that other people have other responsibilities, that we have a responsibility to each other. They have a responsibility to their players, wherever they may be right now. So that is going to come out. I've started working on this job. I think it was at 9:40 today or 8:40 we were talking this morning. 8:46. So approximately at 8:46, 8:47, I started working. I started calling the high school coaches, okay, that I've had relationships with, not illegally, okay, just so I want to make that point, that I've had past relationships with, that were looking forward to seeing what my position was going to be here at Syracuse. And then also the coaches that we are looking to talk to, okay, and Daryl and I will meet on that as long as with everyone else about bringing some people back here that want to be back at Syracuse.
Will you be your own offensive coordinator? Have you decided that yet?
Yes, I have decided that. I will not do that. It will be our system. There are people out there that know our system. I'll be able to help them. I feel that when you get on one side of the ball, I don't want everyone to lose track of what's going on with the defense. I want to be able to make sure that offensively I can answer every question of what we do, why we do it on every single play. I'll be able to help them attack the defense in ways that hopefully will be beneficial for our team, put our players in the best position. Also on defense, I want to be able to answer those questions of, you know, what are we doing in this zone pressure and this down and distance, why we're not switching off this coverage, or how we're playing these zones, or when we're checking the cover two. So I want to be an important part of that. Obviously, decisions as the week goes on. I want to be involved with the special teams. I want to make no bones about it that I'm the head coach and I'm going to make sure I know exactly what's going on. I am responsible for every phase of this football game, okay, whether it be time management issues, offense, defense, special teams, the way our players act on the sideline, the way our players act outside, okay, and I'm willing to take that responsibility. So I am the head coach, and I'm going to make sure that everyone on this team and everyone around this organization and the people that are hired understand that.
When you talk about the situation you're in now, your kind of heart, I'm sure, is right here, and your head has to be in New Orleans for another couple of weeks. How is that going to work in terms of putting the staff together?
Sure. It's been very simple, for me at least. You know, we talk to players all the time about really taking a part of the game plan and concentrating on it. So, and I'm going to follow this with my point, is that we say, okay, here's, you know, we're installing our base run offense and our base pass on one day. Well, now it comes to red zone. Now it comes to goal line. Now it comes, so we feed quite a bit of information to players on a daily basis throughout the week leading up into the game. The thing we stress to those players is to concentrate on each one of those phases. Well, I'm going through the same situation right now. I'm in a phase where I have responsibility for the New Orleans Saints. As soon as those responsibilities are over, okay, I have a phase that takes care of the responsibilities that I have here at Syracuse University, which started today. But the one thing that never stopped, the one responsibility that I never let down, was that I represent this university 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, because this is where I'm from. This is my school, and these are my people.
Doug, as somebody who says a lot of passion, obviously, for this team and this school, in the last few years, as you watch this team, what went through your mind as a coach, and what went through your mind as a fan?
Well, I think, I'll be honest with you, when I used to watch the game, the first thing that goes through my mind at the end of the day when the score is down is the players. Because I don't think, unless you've been a Division I athlete, unless you've been through that type of program, and the people in this room understand that, the amount of time and the amount of effort that you put in. It is a hard, hard job to line up across from someone every day, okay, practice-wise, and hit them as hard as you can. It is hard to get up in the morning, all right, to lift weights and run. And then for these players, when they didn't get the accomplishments or the achievements, that's who I felt for more than anything. And that's why I always wanted to say that I'm going to be able to put them in the best position, and the hard work's going to pay off, and that's going to equal wins.
Coach, with your responsibilities with the Saints yet, and with no staff in place, how in the world are you guys going to recruit here in the next few months?
Well, I don't understand the question about no staff in place yet. Is that you're saying right now, this minute, we have no staff? We have people here that I'm willing to talk to. I'm going to talk to as soon as this meeting's over. Okay? I have people in place that will be able to come in here, all right, shortly. Okay? We only have 5 working days left as far as the recruiting process goes before it ends. I have to take this test right away. I've created some days and space in my schedule where I'm going to be able to get on the road and hopefully get some things done, working with the New Orleans Saints through the schedule as far as my responsibilities. So again, we're talking about 5 days. And I just wish that everyone could understand that, you know, I've been coaching a long time, and I've been part of a lot of hires. And the one thing that you can't do is you cannot make a mistake, okay, in your hiring process. And the one thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to be too quick to jump to hire someone right away. We're going to make sure that we're going to sit down, we're going to interview, we're going to talk to, we're going to make sure that we get the right people for our university. I owe that to everyone in this room. I owe it to everyone that I thanked, and I just want to make sure that occurs.
So you know how passionate this town is about their college sports, and they love their sports teams when they're doing well. So what's the message or the tone that you want to set with the greater community at large to get those fans behind you?
We're going to do well. Would that be the easy answer? No. I think, you know what they're going to see? They're going to see, I remember when I was a freshman, I remember Coach Mack sending us out, and I had to do a Sunday morning church breakfast. And I remember being part of that, and I remember how nervous I was standing up in front of about 40 or 50 people and really learning and being around the people in this community of what they feel, of how passionate they are for this university. And I think the players that we have here today are going to get out there and feel that passion, and I think it carries over. I really do. I think that there's an understanding that we're out there with those people, that we are doing the best we can, okay, that we know that we have their support, and that is the key. You know, football has gone so many different ways nowadays with the internet and our bloggers and our articles and what we write. It's so hard nowadays to make sure that, you know, other schools that we're competing against, you know, don't use it against us. You know, we need to show that we're united, okay, with our fans, with our alumni. We need to show the excitement that we have in our program, and we need to take this and go on and finish this recruiting year and get the best recruits we can, and hopefully turn some that have may already committed. All right? We need to make sure that the players here understand that we are not in a rebuilding process. We are not in a rebuilding process. We are in the process of rejuvenating this program with the players we have here. We're in the process of going out and getting the best players we can in the state and around the state. And we're in the process of winning football games. And that is my responsibility. I went to school here. I've told people this before. I said this to the committee. I don't have any options. I cannot fail. I cannot fail. My option is only to win, and that's what I'm here to do.
Final question for Coach.
Doug, who have been the biggest influences in your career?
First person that's been the biggest influence in my career from a football standpoint outside of my parents, it would be obviously my high school football coach. I think it's important, Carmine Calisano. After that, I would obviously say the biggest influence to me has been Coach Mack. Obviously, after that, pretty much everyone I've worked for from a standpoint of George O'Leary, from a standpoint of Herman Edwards, Jim Moore, and then as a player, Don Shula, every one of them has an unbelievable passion for what they do and an unbelievable respect.
Your high school was, in the Bronx was your high school?
Carmine Calisanto was
No, but the high school.
Herbert H. Lehman High School in the Bronx, which I'm fortunate enough that I've been invited February 6th to speak at the New York State, to be the keynote speaker for New York State High School Coaches Association. So, you know, I appreciate that. That's one of the things, and that's one of the things that we look for. You know, being in the NFL, and I don't want to go back in the NFL, one of the things that we do, I must interview about 120 kids a year from all different colleges from all over the country. And one of the experiences I've had is that when you interview them, you always say, hey, you know, one, I always find out, you know, why they chose what school they went to, and they pretty much all say the same thing, the opportunity to play, the type of coaches that they had, and that's why they chose that school. The other thing I want to make sure of is high school coaches are the most important part, okay, of our profession, but more importantly, they're the most important part of our student athletes. And I've done many clinics for them, the High School Coaches Association, youth clinics around, and I just want to make sure that the players we recruit have the same type of relationship that I had with my high school coach, I want them to have with theirs. Because what you usually see is football is important, okay, they know what it is to work hard, and those are the type of student athletes that we're looking for.
Thank you, Coach.
Another question for Dr. Gross. Kind of the same lines as Giselle's question about getting fans behind you. A lot of fans are going to look at this and say, the last guy you hired here was also a coordinator and a head coach. So how is this different in your eyes?
Well, I think that's shallow thinking. I mean, the fact that we have someone that has great college experience and great NFL experience is more experience than one or the other. So, you know, we've been talking about Syracuse being New York's college team. And we say that in the fact that there's only one BCS school in the whole state of New York, and it's Syracuse. And, you know, when you talk to those high school coaches that I talked to the other day, they look up to Syracuse. They want to send their best players to Syracuse, and we need to represent for them. Doug Marone is from the Bronx, New York. I mean, I can't figure out a better profile guy to be New York's college team and lead that banner. And so now it's like he said, it's time to bring the community together. We all need to jump on board on this and really give him the support he needs. He's got the expertise. He knows how to recruit. He's going to be successful. So now it's time for us to all rally around it because he's going to be here a long time.
I'd like to thank you all for attending today. If those who are visiting would make your way down, and then we'll invite the media down. We have student athletes here, Arthur Jones, Jim McKenzie, and Ryan Bartholomew, as well as the folks who already spoke, available for one-on-ones. Thank you very much.